and welcome to this tutorial. Yeah, I'm just going to do a very quick intro because my camera's battery is dying and the other battery is still charging over there and not full yet, so I gotta hurry. Either way, as you could probably tell from the title of this video, this is another decade inspired makeup. Like I did the 30s and the 40s and before that the 20s, so chronological order. Obviously now it's time for the 40s, or wait, 50s, yeah. I'm awful at counting. But yeah, I already did the 20s, 30s and 40s, so now it's time for the 50s. And yeah, obviously everyone knows I think probably everyone knows about pin-up makeup. But I've done a whole lot of pin-up looks in the past, and I'm actually planning on doing a new one because I think I can do it better now in terms of hairstyling. Because my bangs are like slightly longer and thicker and yeah. So yeah, but like for now I just wanted to keep it in the line of my other decade inspired tutorials and just do something that like an average, not pin-up model, just an average woman might have done in those days. So pretty much what I always do is just go on Google and search for like 50s makeup advertorial, makeup commercial, whatever, and then just go to images. And yeah, like there's just a whole lot of old-timey makeup advertorials, and you know, the things that really stood out to me were like very nude eyeshadow, winged liner and red lips, and god, there's a lot of lipstick. Like that's seriously the thing with this particular lipstick, it gets all over my teeth. Either way, yeah, point is, this is what I ended up with, and obviously the curly hair. So yeah, let's get started. So this time I started out with the Anti-Age, Instant Anti-Age concealer by either L'Oreal or Maybelline. I'm not quite sure, but I'll put it below in the description box, as usual. But yeah, it's the one with a little sponge on top. And I just applied it underneath my eyes and also on the bridge of my nose. So pretty much anywhere where I want to be slightly highlighted, or where I need some extra coverage. And I actually just blended it out with a very old-fashioned makeup sponge. No idea why I was out of focus here, sorry about that. But yeah, just a very old makeup sponge, like one of those not beauty blenders or silly sponges, but just an actual sponge. It still works fine. Also applied a little bit of it, whatever was left on the sponge, on my eyelids as a sort of primer. And then I set it all with the Peggy Sage Translucent Loose Powder in, I was almost going to say the shade Translucent, but I guess that's not a shade. It's just a Translucent Loose Powder. And I applied it with a powder puff by Peggy Sage that actually came with the powder. Matte skin seemed to be quite a thing back then, so I really wanted my skin to be completely matte. And I always start out with setting concealer underneath my eyes because I have oily skin and sort of, not wrinkles, but slight lines underneath my eyes. So I really need to set it quickly because otherwise it turns quite gruesome really. So yeah, I also applied the powder at the top of my eyelid to make sure that the eyeshadow will stay in place later on. And then for powder foundation I used the NYX Stay Matte, NYX, NYX, I hear different people call it different things. Stay Matte but not flat powder foundation in the shade Nude, which as you can see is very well used. I really love the shade and I love the finish and I just love how it wears, like it keeps me matte for pretty long. So yeah, contouring didn't really seem like much of a thing to judge by the photos and drawings that I saw. So I pretty much, you know, I didn't actually contour, but I did try to apply the powder foundation from the perimeters of my face towards the concealer, just to sort of naturally shape a little bit. And then I blended it all out with the big powder brush by Sigma, to give myself sort of a natural, flawless look. All the eyeshadows and blush and all I used are by Peggy Sage, and I put them all in a Boozy Shop palette, which is sort of a Z palette, magnetic sort of thing. And I used an orange blush this time. It was either red or orange blushes that I saw. So I decided to go for orange because it suits me better. And yes, my Sigma contour brush, which I always use for blush, just broke for some reason. It's always been more vulnerable than my other Sigma brushes. After this video I actually fixed it with a glue gun and it's fine now. But yeah, anyway, yeah, for my eyebrows I used the NYX eyebrow gel in the shade Chocolate. It's a very nice product. It's seriously long wearing. Like I tried it out on my hand. It lasted for 3 days and it still looked decent after taking a shower multiple times, washing my hands multiple times. It's seriously strong. And yeah, as far as the shape goes, in those days it wasn't like in the 20s and 30s and 40s, I think. That it was very, very round. There was a definite arch in there, but it was still really very thin. Still really thin, still really drawn on. still not very natural. So I just followed that, and I also comb my hairs to really make them go over the darkened line and to make them look as thin as possible. If your eyebrows are either thicker or darker than mine, you can also use concealer to make the edges stand out less and make them look thinner. Or actually tweeze them into shape, but that's, you know, something you gotta decide for yourself. And then on my crease I used a taupe shade with a fluffy blending brush by Sigma. All the pictures I saw, well, pictures, they were more like all the advertorials, all the old advertorials were like drawings instead of pictures. But the eyes on each and every one of them looked very, very nude, very neutral, other than the winged eyeliner. So I just went for a very basic nude shades. I also applied a darker shade of brown, as you can see here, deeper in the crease with a smaller blending brush. This one is by BH Cosmetics. And I just blended it into the crease and just blended it and blended it some more. To really make it look just like a shadow rather than like eyeshadow. Again, I really wanted it to look as natural as possible. Which isn't something I usually do, so that was sort of fun for a change. Also used the Sigma blender for a little bit to blend it out even more. And then I used a nude shade, a pale nude shade, matte. Which is actually slightly paler than my skin. And applied it with a short shader underneath my eyebrow to highlight that a little. Only a subtle highlight, because again I did want it to be as natural as possible. And then again blended it some more with my Sigma blending brush. Like seriously, most of this eye look seriously just consisted of blending. And then I also used a little bit of the taupe shade on the short shader brush on pretty much the outer half of my lower lash line. Again, I wanted it to look blended and natural, but I did want it to be slightly defined. And then lastly, for the eyeshadow, I used this shade. This is a shimmery nude shade, which I applied with a big eyeshadow brush by Sigma. Sort of also blended it into the crease just to make all the colors meet up there. And yeah, because the eyelid especially was very, very, very pale and bright on all the images that I saw. So yeah, I thought it'd make a nice contrast with the black liner as well. Then for my eyeliner, well, you know, waterline actually, yeah. I do actually recommend using a nude shade because it would look more natural, obviously. But that's sort of like socks. Socks are like the thing I always forget to buy. And the same goes for nude eyeliner. I always forget to buy it, so I don't have any. I do have socks, by the way, but point is, I only have a white eyeliner in terms of pale shades. So, yeah, it's by Peggy Sage, and I just use that one. And then it's time for gel liner. This one is by Kiko. Yes, I was holding the name upside down. I know, that always happens for some reason. But it's like, seriously, it's the best gel liner I have ever tried. Like, to be fair, so far I've only tried one by Catrice, which was actually from a sale stand, so it's probably already old when I bought it. And one by Isadora, which also was never very smooth, but this one is like, it applies like a freaking liquid, only it's immediately completely black. It's like, seriously, it dries quickly, it wears for ages, it's absolutely gorgeous. To remove it, I do have to use a remover with a lot of oil in it, otherwise it just doesn't come off. It's seriously absolutely beautiful. However, I did notice, and that's like, I went to makeup school, I have diploma, so it's pretty embarrassing how... No wait, it's really, really embarrassing how long it took me to do this winged liner. I can only blame laziness. I hadn't done winged liners in ages, especially not in black. And, you know, black isn't a very forgiving color against pale skin, because any mistake will be very visible. So it seriously took me ages to get a sort of decent winged liner, just a subtle, nice winged liner. And then I had to fix a heap of mistakes with concealer and my eyebrow brush, and yeah, oops. Then I just blended out the concealer onto my eyelid and applied the shimmery nude shadow on top of it to set it, and you know, then the liner finally looked decent. And then for lashes I used these. This is actually, these weren't in the box anymore, I've had them for ages, used them for ages. They're still clean though, I do clean them every time, but I think they were by Peggy Sage, and the eyelash glue is definitely by Peggy Sage. It's actually says white on the bottle, but it's translucent. I mean, the glue looks white, but once it dries, it's just completely translucent, so, you know, any white spots will just disappear on their own. And the lashes themselves are just really, really, really comfortable. They're natural, they're pretty, and they're like pretty much the only eyelashes I have. They don't start to annoy me after a while, like sometimes I even forget I'm wearing them. And then to paint my own blonde lashes black to fit with the falsies, I used the Yves Rocher Sexy Pulp mascara in the shade Noir, which is just French for black. And I also applied a very little amount of that onto my lower lashes, just to, you know, just to really tie the eyes together.
But I didn't want it to be too obvious, and then I used the shade 01 by Yves Saint Laurent, which is pretty much my go-to shade when I'm going for a classic red lip. Like seriously, it's seriously beautiful. Like, it's a very expensive lipstick. I actually bought it with gift cards, to be honest. But it's seriously beautiful. Like, it wears for ages, and when it does wear off, it does so in a subtle way rather than going ugly. Like, this lipstick just never looks ugly. But of course I was very careful with applying it because, you know, red lipstick is very easy to make mistakes with. They can be fixed with concealer though if you do make a mistake. But yeah, for my hair I actually put it up in a bun because short hair was in fashion back then and I obviously didn't want to cut it. And then I just comb my bangs and put them in sections. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't want to do pin-up bangs. I didn't want to do the full pin-up look this time. I wanted it to look natural, and all the women in the pictures had sort of curly hair. So I decided to go for semi-naturally curly. So yeah, what I did is just curled my bangs in sections, and as you can see, I'm seriously not very used to curling my bangs. I do want to do it more often because I think it looks better than to just have my bangs hang there randomly. But yeah, what I did is just put it on setting 4. I have no idea what heat that is, and then just held it there for like 15 seconds. Carefully removed the curling iron and then just left it there to cool down. Like, left it in the curl to let it cool down so I don't accidentally tug out the curls by combing it out while it's still warm. Like, seriously, the most difficult part of this all is waiting for 15 seconds per curl because I'm seriously not a patient person at all. But yeah, eventually my bangs were curled and I sprayed some, the strongest version of the L'Oreal All Net hairspray in it off camera. I have no idea why I have no footage of that, but that's what I did. And then just used a wide tooth comb to comb it all out so it looked, you know, more like natural curls, but not too fluffy. And the parts of it that were too long, I just pinned them back with hairpins, which are pretty much stuck into my skull because I really want stuff to be sturdy. Yeah, that's like really a thing. Like hair stuff, I just really want it to be sturdy and not go out of place. And then I also applied a hairband just to have something extra on there. This one came from Claire's years ago, but it's the sort of thing that, you know, a lot of stores actually sell in summer. Not very difficult to get, but I do think it's a nice touch. And also to keep that in place, I used some hair clips on both sides, one on each side, just to make sure it doesn't go out of place and I don't happen to lose it anywhere. And you know, just so it will stay looking nice all day long. And then yeah, that's actually the final result. I really had a lot of fun doing this. I really had a lot of fun doing this. I really love doing, like, you know, certain era looks. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, please click the like button. And you can also always subscribe to my channel if you'd like. For now, thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye!